Well, thanks for joining me for the next instalment. Today I'm going to be fitting the cylinder head back on. If you remember the last video, we got the engine back in, so I'm just going to run you around what I've done since then. So it was only yesterday we got the engine back into place. Oh, it's a gorgeous day today as well, which helps. So I've rewired the alternator back on, put all the wiring harnesses back. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see with this kind of light. Back onto the engine, and while the cylinder head's off, took the opportunity to run the reverse light cable back over the back of the gearbox, refitted the fuel pipes and refitted a new fuel pump in there. As you remember, I damaged the old one. I bent the pipes on the manifold sorry, on the manifold getting the engine out. So yeah, we're kind of ready to progress to the next stage now and put the cylinder head back on and rocker gear, and well, not far off then firing it up, I hope. So yeah, I've got a gasket set here. This is a new cylinder head gasket. Now, obviously I've cleaned the surfaces here and kept them really spotless throughout, really. The same on the cylinder head. Now the gasket will fit, it looks like it'll fit either way round, but it doesn't. If you try to fit it that way, you're going to have serious problems, because one, you won't get your bolts in the holes, and also you'd be blocking oilways, which would be pretty disastrous. So let's just locate. Just press on to these locators. Just get that feedback out of the way. There we go. And that's that all on ready to accept the cylinder head. Now I might get my wife just give me a hand to lift it across so I can put it on straight, because what you don't want to do, it's really heavy and it's hard to get under the bulkhead here. And if you drop the edge on, you could easily damage part of the cylinder head gasket, and you really don't want to be doing that, because you'll just have a lot of problems later. So next stage you'll see the cylinder head probably sat on there waiting to put the bolts in. So we'll get on with that. So you can see that was fairly painless. Between two people, it's just ensured the cylinder head went down evenly and it just located onto its pegs. So I'm happy it didn't sort of damage the gasket at all. So next thing I'm going to do is, I've got the bolts here. They're separate because that's just my anal side, I suppose. These bolts came from the internal part of the engine side, and these were around the external part of the head. So these were a lot cleaner than those, but I am going to give them a damn good clean on the threads with a wire brush, make sure there's no gunking crap in them, because when you torque down, you want the bolts to be at the correct torque, and if you've got a lot of dirt on there and they're tight, then that's going to take a few pounds of the torque away. I might be talking bullshit, but that's my theory anyway. So I'll clean those up and then we'll put them in and torque them down. So I'll go through the torquing down process later. I won't film putting the bolts in, because, well, these videos are pretty dull as they are without me making them even more dull. So okay, we'll crack on with that. Okay, all the bolts are in, and what I do is I go around and gently nip each one down in turn. Now there is a sequence of tightening, which I'll put a picture up now, and it's important to follow that procedure. Obviously it's a cast iron head. I mean, they're pretty robust. Aluminium heads are a lot more susceptible to warping and stuff, but there's three stages of torquing down, obviously using a torque wrench. The three stages. Stage one is 52 foot-pounds in old money, and you follow the sequence all the way around. But again, I nip them down a little bit before the torque wrench gives, all in the sequence, every single bolt, just to make sure everything's pulled down nice and tight, and then follow the sequence around. So this is stage one. I'm just about to finish off these last two here. So this is set up, and you get that nice little, see, that's not going off yet, so just pull them down evenly. And that's stage one finished. So I tend to leave that for a little while, then we go around the same bolts all over again in sequence with the same torque figure, and then finally what we do is we use one of these, which is an angle gauge, and this will be set up on the socket, and there's a little arm that you lock into somewhere convenient, reset the dial to 0, and then on this engine you have to turn it another 90 degrees, which is like a quarter turn basically, and then that's it, torqued up to the correct torque. I don't always understand, somebody might be able to explain to me why you bother use angle gauges and not just a complete torque figure. Who knows? Anyway, that's the sequence. So I'll carry on round, finish it all off, and then we'll put the rocker gear back on, get that set down, and I'll show you how we adjust the points. No, it's not a petrol car, Steve. Yeah, show you how to set the gap on all the rockers. Okay, let's crack on. Once the head all torqued down correctly now, I've been around it several times to make sure everything's tight. It's worth going around a number of times, taking the time. I'm now going to install the rocker gear. So if you remember when I took the head off, I put each of the push rods into a piece of cardboard and they're numbered so they go back in the correct position. And I've also got these little fellas that sit on the tops of the valve stems. There's the bolt. There are different torque settings for the larger bolts, the smaller bolts, which we'll have to sort out. But for now, we'll just set the camera up on the tripod so you can see me put them back in. I've got some fresh engine oil there, which I tend to put on the ends and in the scoops, and then pour a little bit across the tops as we go along. After them go into position onto the cam followers, they almost kind of like stick into place with the oil on them. It helps them stay in place there. Okay, now I'm just going to put a little bit of oil over the tops of these. There's a little bit in there as well. And fits the caps back on. Now, I seem to have managed to keep these in order from all the time it's been apart, so I'm not sure if it's essential, but obviously things wear at different rates, so it's nice to put things back in the same order as they came off. And having that oil on there, it just helps kind of stick them into place as well. Okay, now it's essential to get this all lined up. So that these can all come round into their correct rocker positions. If I get my big head in the way. Not quite there yet. Of course, got the cameras on, it always looks a little more awkward than it actually is. Okay. Of course, it won't sit down flat because obviously the push rods, some of them will be in the valve open position. They'll be actually working against the springs. So as we tighten the bolts up, they'll come down but it's also good to, hope you can hear me okay, do them up evenly. So make sure these are all going to the correct positions. Just one slipped out, so let's just sort that. Yeah, it's gone the wrong side of the valve, so I screw things up so you don't have to. That's better. I'm sure these things only happen like this because the camera's rolling. I'm bound to say that, aren't I? There we go. Well, I'll go through and put the rest of the bolts in, and then we'll gradually tighten them bit by bit so it all comes down evenly so you don't stress anything. And then it'll be time to get a 30mm spanner and some feeler gauges, rotate the engine and just check that all the valves are correct gapping. Okay, that's everything all torqued down. Now, funny enough, as I said earlier, to make sure that the tappet ball is in the end of the push rod cut properly, I thought I had them all correctly, and as I slowly rotated to check everything was running, it kind of locked. I could see one was open too hard. It's like compressing, the spring was fully compressed, and it just popped out and was catching on the edge. So yeah, just bear in mind that I had to be so careful with these things. So anyway, slackened it off, got it back in, retightened down. Now the inlet and exhaust valves have a different valve clearance. I think it's 0.38 mil for, yeah, 0.38 for the exhaust and 0.2 for the inlet, and I can only find one set of my feeler gauges, so that's going to take a while. So now the way to check them, in the old Fords it used to be a rule of 9, so if first one was, number 1 was fully open, then number 8 could be adjusted. And if 8 was fully open, number 1, anything that added to 9. But on these it's a little bit different. So I'm going to put up a picture now of which valves are fully open, which ones you can adjust. So I'll put that up now. So I'm just going to adjust down. So there we go. So that 1 is fully open, and that should be 6 as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 doesn't look like he's going to be fully open, so they do need adjusted. Yeah, that's it. So I should be able to, looking at the table, if one's fully open, I can adjust 4 and 7. Yeah, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is open. So if I get my feeler gauge, which is 0.2 at the moment, check number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's a little, it fits, but it's a little slack. So I'm going to have to use 30mm spanner and just we're on a Land Rover. They've got a locking nut, and they used to have on early Fords, you just undo the locking nut, adjust the tappet quick and then relock it. But on these are like really grip tight threads. So they are very, very tight to move. Now it's just starting to get a bit better. You don't want it tight on it. It should be just, yeah, just feel it slipping in, just starting to grip it, but not actually stopping and moving it in and out. That's better. And now obviously I would adjust the exhaust valve if I could, but I don't have the feeler gauges set correctly. So anyway, that's it for this video really. I'll run through and adjust the rest if I can find these other feeler gauges, and then put the rest of this all back together, and then we'll try and fire it up before I put all the other bits on. Okay, hope that some of that was helpful for you. I know it's a bit of a laborious long video, but you know, I'm filming it as we go. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed some of that. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll catch up again soon. Bye now.